Right, well, welcome along to this classic match. It's the Rugby World Cup quarter-final from 2007 between New Zealand and France at the Millennium Stadium, as it was then, in Cardiff. And yeah, here you are for this watch-along with us. Well, I think we probably need ourselves at this point, because we are effectively three rugby noses that just purely by virtue of the fact we started a podcast when there was no other rugby podcasts, we found ourselves in this position, being able to jabber along with you. So I'm Tim. Yeah. There's JB.
Good evening and a very
hello, Tim. How are you?
I'm very well, Jade. Like one of those, hate me like one of your French girls on your chaise longue.
Indeed.
And Phil.
Hello, Tim. Hello, JB.
Hello, Phil. Now, you started off with saying just three rugby noses. The reason I'm wearing, well, okay, first of all, if you're over 30, you should never wear a full kit. No, you should never wear a top, let alone a full kit. But this is the actual top I wore to go to this actual game.
Is that right?
Yeah, the actual
Where
top.
were you? We can see the stadium now as the teams go out. Whereabouts were you in the ground?
That's a great question, because this will be my second time watching it, but my first time remembering it. So, if I'm right, it'd be one of the top. It'd be one of the higher corners, I think. I think it's one of the third-tier corners. They weren't particularly great seats, but it was a great event.
Well,
it was.
Any seats in the Millennium Stadium are great seats because of how it was built. It's a superb ground to watch rugby in.
Maybe the best part of this game, I mean, spoiler alert and all the rest of it, but Cardiff this day was bouncing. And of course, it's bouncing with New Zealanders, who, as you'll see, I mean, if it cuts to the crowd, they're very confident. They're very, very confident. And they were confident all the way up to the kickoff.
Well, I mean, they went into this as
about 60 minutes, to be fair.
They went into this as big favourites, and the context is New Zealand fans were expecting them to be there. They won their pool match. France were not expecting to be here. They lost the opening game to Argentina, if you remember.
Yes, of course, because this is the French World Cup, isn't it? David Skrella got ankle tapped.
So yeah, France were never supposed to be playing in Wales. They were supposed to play all their games at home.
Oh, you're right.
Lads, I've done a bit. Lads, before I'm going to interrupt you, JB, I've done a bit of research here. They're singing the Maori part of the New Zealand national anthem now. I've looked up what the translation is. So they're singing, "Oh Lord God, we belong to the people. Listen carefully. Just be kind. Be fruitful and good. Be kind. Welcome me." And then the last word is, and I'm sorry if I say this wrong, Aotearoa, which is the name of the domestic New Zealand tournament. And that word, do you know what that means? Do you know what that means?
I thought it is a five-way tournament. That's what I thought it was.
It means New Zealand.
Oh, is it? That's nice.
Of course.
Which I didn't know.
Very nice, Tim. Very good research.
I always come prepped.
So tell me if I'm right here. I think that this French team, they're starting with Lionel Boxis today. And now Lionel Boxis had 6 clubs during his tenure in French rugby. But I think the French team had 2 fly halves which they were interchanging between in David Skrella and Lionel Boxis that both played for the same club. As in Stade Francais.
Stade Francais at the time.
I'm certain that they were.
I'm just offended you're talking about David Skrella and Lionel Boxis when Richie McCaw's on the screen. The legend.
Who? Well, he wasn't that much of a legend today, was he?
Well, let's see how the game unfolds.
Yeah,
let's see.
No spoilers, JB. I'm looking forward to this one.
Would you
like
look
at that Freddie Michalak blue steel?
He is handsome, isn't he?
And Zarzewski.
This is one of my all-time favourites. Imagine those two on your bench: Harry Nordeke and Sebastian Chabal. Sebastian Chabal playing second row, by the way.
Yeah, and so Fabien Pelouse, one of the all-time great second rows, playing but not captain. One of the all-time great French captains, but not captain in the squad for this World Cup.
Dusatoir's captain, is he?
No, is Ibanez.
Lads, one thing I've just noticed about the French team, they're wearing tracksuit tops. Was it cold on this particular day? I can't think of another reason why they'd be concealing their jerseys.
I don't remember it being cold. Maybe it's a modern warm-up technique which they've got going on. or they've been body shamed before they walk out.
Such a good anthem.
Oh, here we go.
Here we go then. You can just see them taking off their tracksuit tops. Oh, what's going on here? Some of them are wearing white, some in red, some in blue. This is one of the great hackers ever.
Richie McCaw, captains from number 7.
This is an amazing response.
Look at that. Here they go.
It's only an amazing response after the game.
Therefore,
what I mean by that is, if you get...
Let's wait for 80 minutes then.
Oh, it's not cold!
Take up the challenge.
Perfect temperature. It's a trick.
Right in their faces.
Now, oh no, let's just enjoy this. Let's not talk about it. Ali Williams did have a great hacker face, didn't he?
He does. Thought we were meant to be enjoying it.
Dan Carter taking it very seriously. And Byron Keller.
Look at the shape he's in.
And there's Steve Soiolu's brother there.
Cameraman always found Seabass in the 2007 World Cup. Anywhere Shabal went, there's a camera on him.
He's incredible, isn't he?
Oh, that's so good.
What I think...
Yes.
Look at him. One of the things sorry about this. I hate to bring this up, but didn't you train in the same gym as Shabal, Phil? Weren't you both in Total Fitness Wilmslow?
I'm trying to think. I've trained at various points in time in the same gym as various different Sale Sharks players. I can't actually remember.
I didn't know they had Atlas stones at Wilmslow Total Fitness. That's what Shabal trains with, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure a lot of people in Total Fitness Wilmslow would gossip quite regularly about Shabal. And I know that you would definitely remember that.
Hey, look how young Wayne Barnes looks.
At one point was.
Oh, yeah.
He was 27 in this match. That's really young for a World Cup quarter-final of this magnitude.
Not a great fitting shirt for Wayne, though.
Compared to all the fitted match shirts for the players.
Yeah.
Here we go.
I wonder if he's speaking French in this. Or if that's something he developed later on in his career. Anyway, whatever happens, I'm sure by the end of this 80 minutes, the Kiwis will love him.
I'm sure he'll have a great game. What's your take on the two kits, gentlemen?
Well, actually, the All Blacks one isn't that offensive. It's not great, but it's not offensive. The French one's awesome, obviously.
The French one's incredible.
I disagree on both counts.
Even though it's not the proper blue, the proper French royal blue, it's still an incredible kit.
Yeah, is it? Yeah, is this their home? Is this the actual home kit that we're looking at? I know it's a home shirt. Did they wear it with those white shorts all the time?
I don't think they did wear it.
I don't like it. I can say why I don't like it. The best French kits, blue top, and I prefer the royal blue to the dark blue. Blue tops, white shorts, red socks. Ooh. So it looks like the tricolor flag.
What's he
That's
doing
when it
there?
looks its best.
Bit of shoeing for McCaw.
See, we missed this, don't we? We really missed this.
Safety first, JB.
Safety first, of course. Safety first and foremost.
So return to the kit. To return to the kit chat.
Yeah. I think
French kits with red socks.
True.
Yeah.
I also think they
French
wore
kits
this kit
need more red
primarily
on
with blue shorts.
Which therefore in turn is going to upset Carter.
Yeah, so I rewatched some of the France-Argentina game, the pool game, and I'm sure they weren't wearing white shorts in that.
Yeah,
it was definitely the Parker kit. But
we're splitting hairs over the French kit, but let's talk about the New Zealand kit for a second, because that is an abomination.
It's not. I mean, it's. What else are you New Zealand do for their alternative kit? I mean,
plain white. The inverse. They do the inverse of their home kit.
Yeah, but then England are in all white too. I don't mind this. In fact, I quite like the doff of the cap to the blackness. It's not the worst, but it's by no means good.
It reminds me of. Do you remember the Manchester United kit they had? Where it was like a a grey with a hint of green, and they wore it for like one half against, it might have been Southampton.
Yeah,
I'm talking
Southampton
like
it was.
20 years
They changed-
ago. They changed at half time, I seem to remember. There's just something
did.
about this kit. It's like got an unoffensive
It's more
vagueness
of a-
about it that just is never going to
Yeah.
inspire brilliant performances.
It reminds me of the Leicester Tigers one where they had like grey, and I'm sure it had like a pinky hue to it. It was awful. And you're right, it just doesn't inspire.
Well, here's a challenge. Can you name a good kit that's been made in the colour grey?
Ooh.
No, you can't.
Come back to you on that. No.
Okay, let's think about that. Here we go. It's on. Carter should have given it there.
Yeah.
Don't know why, but I found
I
myself
did a bit of,
supporting New Zealand.
So something which I was disappointed in this game. Two of my favourite all-time centres are playing. But unfortunately, one of them isn't even playing centre. So Jojon is out of this world good. And Damian
That
Try
man
is
there.
out of this world good. Yeah,
Yeah.
Damian Try should be at 12. Jojon should be at 13. Now they won, so I'll let them off. But that's how it should have been.
Well, that's how they started the
I don't know.
tournament
I don't
against
know how. I don't know what the
Argentina.
result is. I'm going to wait and see what happens at 80 minutes.
They started the tournament with that centre combination, with Jojon and Try as the two centres.
And well,
and
think about it.
And Scrella at 10.
They were, aren't they all like 6'4"?
Yeah,
They're
Try
all
and
enormous. Scrella's a big
Jojon.
boy as well.
Try and Jojon are massive.
The French were through on him. Carter.
And obviously, on the opposition, instead of having a centre at 15, you've got a 15 in the centre with
And also-
Mills Muliaina.
And also, you could argue another 10 at 12. Sale Sharks developed McAllister.
Uh-oh, Betson.
No, he went to Sale Sharks after this game.
Yeah, but that's where he that's where he really developed under the stewardship of people
he's
like
out.
Mike Brewer and
Did either of you
Steve Diamond.
Did either of you see that incident?
No, we'll see it now.
He went into. He tried to tackle Rocker Thoko, didn't he? Here we go. All forearm. No, I'm fine with that. That's the
No.
rugby incident. Play on.
Yeah,
Just seems to be a big hit by an enormous man.
yeah.
He might come slightly to the wrong side.
He wasn't out straight away. He sort of moved around.
Was it? Yeah, maybe it's a forearm on
Was
the
it his
ground
own
there.
player? Gave him a second. His own player.
No, as
Oh,
they come
dearie
down,
me.
I think Rocco's forearm hits him in the face. I think. Dave Ellis there. Dave Ellis currently coaching at somewhere in the Midlands. Kenilworth Rugby Club.
Oh, there you go.
And I
There's a little.
Just cradling his head, but
Hang on.
Sorry, Joe, I
let's
didn't mean to
not talk
interrupt
about
you.
Serge Betson. I'm talking about Kenilworth Rugby Club here. Yeah, he's coaching at Kenilworth Rugby Club, and I think they won that national cup thing which they do, like the one that ends up in Twickenham.
Yeah, you have your different levels of it, don't you?
Yeah, so I think Dave Ellis had a stint in Lyon too. In fact, almost everyone on this. Oh, there it is. Ow.
Was his
Who
own
was
player?
that?
the knee coming in was what did the damage.
Clumsy.
It wasn't the initial
That was awful.
on the tackle.
How young does Aaron Nordicke look? Lovely Tash.
Great touch.
What an incredible player.
One of these situations, sometimes it looks absolutely terrible.
I was going to say one club man, but of course he moved to Toulouse later on. So
You've got a very niche knowledge of French clubs, club rugby from the 90s and 2000s, JB.
Well,
So,
the weird thing
as
about
well as-
the weird thing. Come on.
I was going to say, you mentioned he moved to Toulouse late on. Who else did he play for?
Well, Biarritz.
So that would make him a two-club man. Who else did he play for?
Oh, did he start some? Did he? Did he start at Bayonne or somewhere?
Started
the
at
thing of
Pau.
I did not know that. So the thing about Aaron Nordicke, apparently, and I don't know if this is true, but apparently he only used to sign one-year deals in case he was needed.
Oh, look at this
back on his
warm-up.
father's farm.
Love it.
The Bass boy and
That is awesome.
He used to what, JB?
He used to only sign 1-year deals at Biarritz in case he was needed back on his father's farm as a farmhand.
There seems to be two thoughts here.
Wasn't there
Love
something
that.
similar with the Duplessis brothers?
I think there was, actually. I think there was. That's why they didn't leave for France until later on in their career.
Yeah. God, poor Betson.
He's a hard man.
Yeah, the veteran, this is his 62nd cap. Now, it's just a question. I mean, he will not want to go off, but the player doesn't always know best in this situation. Oh, and he looks as if his legs are gone. He can't play on, surely.
No, Aaron Ordickey's already ready to come on, doing that brilliant little warm-up he did a second ago. But I just noticed another thing that dates this to 2007. I'm pretty sure I saw Dan Carter receive a pass from outside the 22 and kick it from inside the 22, and they took the line out from where the ball went out. So that law hadn't come in yet, where you couldn't take it back into the 22.
I had no idea.
Well, we'll keep an eye on that anyway.
Yeah. Right, go on, Tim. Say something humorous about that one glove. I can't think of anything, but it's certainly a humorous thing to.
Has he only got one glove on?
He's only got one lime green
Just one?
glove because it's essential. Yeah, oh yeah.
But it's a pretty bad one, and
I'm saying nothing.
well be right, Jamie.
The gloves definitely date this.
Is it his line-out hand?
It's nothing more serious than that.
But that would depend on which. Does he change it over?
Touch line.
Yeah, good replacement to have.
He's okay, he's the ball carrier.
In goes the drive, and France.
Ah, so he's got his right thumb strapped as well.
Getting away from the.
It's nice seeing some rucking, isn't it?
I want you away more
Isn't it?
quickly than that, says the referee.
Nah,
I don't
I can
think
take it or leave it.
Pipe down. I don't think it's conducive to great rugby, though, is it? Because you've got to commit so many numbers in there. Or is it conducive to great rugby because you are committing so many numbers? Well, so many attackers, I guess.
Indeed, so as we see the Richie McCaw on the
Yeah, but he knows what he's doing.
lineup comes up, John.
He does. He knows exactly
He's
what
designed
he's
to
doing.
be there.
Richie was totally there. I can't believe anyone could think otherwise.
It certainly gives France another option.
It does indeed. He played most of his
There's
rugby
Bruce.
at number 8. but he
God, he was some player.
Wily old men in their team, experienced players.
Hasn't perhaps got quite the strength and power of Betson. Immediately brought into the line out at the front. Aaron Ordickey becomes the target man.
So I'm counting at the moment no less than 4 French captains in the pack.
So Ibanez and
Palouse,
Palouse.
Ibanez, Aaron Ordickey,
Aaron Ordickey.
Dusatoir.
Yeah.
I don't know if Aaron Ordickey was actually. Dusatoir, Palouse, Ibanez,
Bonaire.
definitely 3.
Julien Bonaire.
Yeah, I'm sure Bonaire's captain too.
Just wide from Damien Traille. He has one drop
Should we fact check that, or no? Never mind.
Nah, let's leave it.
But that was not playing fullback, but he was close to giving France the lead there.
Oh, it's seeing Jerry Collins. Bittersweet, isn't it? Because what a player, but really sad.
Yeah. I mean, talk about all-time amazing back rows in this game. With Betson, Dusatoir, Aaron Ordickey, and Bonaire, and then Collins, McCaw, and Suyalo.
He doesn't want a huge bounce, gets the right bounce. Just pops up.
See, I thought, I remember coming into this game thinking, I know what France are going to do as soon as they pick box East. He's not like one of the flair typical
I don't know.
France,
I think
but he's got a massive boot on him. He's got a massive boot on him.
Okay, so the problem with that statement, Tim, is it's all relative. He was a very good fly half, but the problem every Frenchman had at the time is that Michalak existed. So no matter who you were never going to be the French flair fly half.
He was. There was an element of certainly maybe not flair, but the unpredictable about box East.
Well, about them all really.
Yeah, maybe less so about Skrilla. Maybe Skrilla the straight man in that trio.
Yeah, but even for a straight man, he was unbelievably volatile. Like, he would get things wrong. He'd drop the ball. He'd get tackled as he's about to kick. It looks like he's tripped over.
In that Argentina pool game.
Yeah. Even their serious men led to calamity.
There's a lot of
Wayne
penalties.
Barnes gave Richie McCaw another penalty against Richie McCaw.
Well, I mean, what the question is, how's it only 2?
They might even be the third in this game already.
I think their confidence will grow, and if they can just play.
So that's Heyman's kicking, right?
Yeah, Heyman's playing on the wing.
Take it to another stage.
Yeah. So I like it when you say range of kickers.
New Zealand haven't got anywhere near the French 22.
In what regard? Because the range of kickers kicking sticks always feels a bit hit and miss.
Well, you've always got like your classic long-range types. Dan Parks for Scotland, and then Chris Patterson for the close-range easy ones. I always quite like that. But also the guy who kicks it out of hand too. I like it when they give it to someone else. Like Elliot Daly. Like, it makes sense to give the ball to Elliot Daly, no matter who you are.
Yeah, for certain shots.
Carter with the kick.
Yeah, see, that was another pass from outside to inside. Oh, but it didn't go into touch. I'm trying to work out if that's actually the law at this point or not.
Heyman's the kick and go. Timed his run really.
Nice off.
Where did you watch the game, Phil?
And again, they're deep in the New Zealand.
I think. I'm just trying to remember.
Oh,
I was about 22 at the time. I think it was at a friend's house at Birmingham University. So it wasn't like it's not like a really memorable, incredible memory like JB's visit to the Millennium Stadium to actually watch the game live.
Yeah. There we go.
But not remember a single minute of it.
Yes.
Collins again doing good work.
Don't dive in, no!
Do you know where you watched it, Tim?
Much.
Yeah, it was in a generic pub in London, because I remember I'm pretty sure England played Australia earlier in the day. This is the evening, and I think in the afternoon England beat Australia in a really rubbish game. Johnny Wilkinson, I think he basically got all the points for England. A real low-scoring game, 12-10, something like that, and England got through to the semi-finals. And so we'd had a jolly afternoon. I'll put it that way. So my memory is probably similar to JB's. But I remember the atmosphere in the pub being awesome.
Wasn't the England game? It was Johnny Wilkinson kicking sticks. It was a scrum winning penalties, wasn't it? Sheridan winning penalties at scrum time.
Yes, he was, and I know this because it was the game before, so England were already through when this game kicked off.
Yes.
So some real mistakes here by.
What's great about that, JB? I appreciate that, because if anyone missed me say it, then they heard you say it afterwards. So that's really good.
Grubber from Jericho. Oh wow, that is unorthodox defending.
Cagey so far.
Yeah.
Oh, hello, Luke McAllister.
That's pretty tasty.
He was a baller. He's still playing, isn't he?
He was a injury joker for Toulouse last year, or Clermont. From Toulouse to Clermont. No, hang on. He's done Toulouse, Clermont, and Toulon. He was an injury joker for Toulon, I think.
And Sale Sharks, of course.
And Sale Sharks, where of course he did most of his development and learning.
See, Wayne Barnes consistent there.
Very consistent at ruck time. And
do you know who I've not noticed much of yet? Thierry Dusautoir. Richie McCaw's opposite number.
Yeah.
Been quite quiet so far.
Because he's busy tackling.
Yeah, I think he's slightly on about 8 or 9 tackles already.
Yeah. Yeah, we need to see the stats to see what he's actually been up to.
And I think it was the veteran,
the French defence already is putting pressure on New Zealand. You can see it.
Well, you can trace a little bloodline from this French team to the 2020 French team with, as you mentioned earlier, Dave Ellis was their defence coach. Now they've got Sean Edwards, rugby league man from the northwest of
Indeed.
England. It's got that kind of DNA on this French team from what we've seen so far, hasn't it?
Yeah, the contribution to rugby league across the world of union is so underrated. I mean, we know they exist, but we don't really think about the impact until you name the people like Dave Ellis and Farrell and Ford, and it just goes on and on and on.
Little shot of Sheg in the crowd with Graham Henry. I remember at the time, I never used to warm to Graham Henry, but since he's retired and more recently, the more you hear him talk, the more I really like that bloke.
The more he's got his guard down, he doesn't really care now, does he? He's not playing any games.
He's had a few moments where he's, not bit his tongue.
Yeah.
There you go. So it's not. Oh, it is. Yeah. So Tim, you were correct about the law. That was passed back in, booted straight out by Carter, but it's line out from where it went out.
That is a good law change, isn't it? That one just makes so much sense when you look back. It's so much better for the laws as we currently have them in that case.
Yes. Yeah.
Like the old pass back in football. Pass back to the keeper.
So, God, their line-out options for the French are unbelievable. You've got Bonner, you've got Pelouse, you've got Thion, and then of course Haranordaki.
Yeah.
Can you hear that? Can you hear the crowd? The Fields of Athenry are singing. So, what Ireland potentially going to be playing in this game?
Yeah, so Ireland.
Maybe.
The France and Argentina group. So Ireland lost to both France and Argentina and went home at the group stages.
What a shame, because if they'd have qualified, they'd be a historically good Ireland team. They'd have equalled all of Ireland's previous achievements.
Death, taxes, and Ireland losing in the quarter-final.
They didn't even make it at this time.
The crowd picked up on it, but they got away with it.
Now this could have been France's. Well, it actually could have been France's England 2015, where the host nation lost the first game. They had the opening game against Argentina, lost that, and had to beat Ireland to stay in the competition. Managed to beat Ireland to progress to this point. No one really gave them much of a shot, and then we'll see what happens.
Why is Jerome Thion not a French developed player?
But he really is a super rugby player.
Say that again.
Why is Jerome...
Hello. Luke McAllister again.
Yeah, McAllister looks good.
Tell you what, if you keep an eye on his Instagram, he looks good. He's in top shape. His workouts during lockdown have been outstanding. Oh, here we go.
Here we go. Got to be a try.
Beautiful stuff.
Was that a hint of a forward pass from Soyalu?
Well, the French seem to think so.
Let's go.
Ali Williams. I wonder if he knew how much fun he'd have in France later in his career.
Never knew, did he? Never knew. Oh, he does know.
Well, it's the pass Golialu that puts him in.
That's backwards.
That's Tony Spreadbury, the touchdown.
Yeah, so
right
I'll let you think about it, gents, and then come back to me and tell me why Jerome Thion is not a French developed player.
No try. Why Thion is not a French developed player?
He's not a French developed player.
I've just had a look up at the big screen, and they're all running back from the halfway position. They know that this is going to go against them.
Oh, unlucky.
So even 13 years ago, they still took ages over really simple TMO decisions.
Is that Tony Spreadbury, the other ref?
Yeah,
the assistant.
It is.
I have to say,
Spreaders to his mates.
Yeah.
Well, they're being consistent, Chris, certainly.
I think he's like chief referee now or something. I'm sure he's very, very senior in the referee pyramid.
Watch is still off. Are you in or not?
I can't believe Wayne Barnes is refereeing this game. This must be right at the very start of his international career.
Classic, Phil. Classic.
And France escaped.
Classic high-risk French manoeuvre on your own try line.
No. That's fairly common, that, because you can stand 5 metres away and then the opposition can only have to stand 10 metres away, so it's not that high risk.
The chance to counter. Falls over.
Tell me about McDonald, the fullback. I don't remember him very much.
I was thinking about him. Was he the Blues?
Oh, hello, Luke McAllister again.
That is.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Collins, McAllister, try time.
If I didn't know better, I would say New Zealand look unstoppable now.
Yeah.
I mean, that's magnificent.
That was class by McAllister.
So quick off both feet.
This line here.
That is classic rugby league. Out to win.
It's Dan Carter as well. He sucked in about 3 French defenders in that.
Yeah. Does anyone know where McAllister's dad played?
Oh, was that a hint of forward as well?
Ah,
I don't know why I'm so obsessed with potential forward passes.
Just let the boys play, Tim.
Yeah, Tim. Dan Carter's dad? Any guesses where he played?
Dan Carter's dad? Don't you mean Luke
New
McAllister's
Zealand?
Dan Carter, McAllister's dad. Luke McAllister's
He played
dad.
Did he play for Salford Reds?
I think it was Oldham.
He played rugby league in the UK, didn't he? In the Northwest.
In the Northwest. And that probably has something to do with McAllister's beautiful lines of running.
2-0 over France in this second quarter final.
And those beautiful thighs.
Bye.
He has got great quads, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Would you
He's
want
in
Look at those
amazing
quads. They are awesome.
So you've got a choice: McAllister's quads or Jerry Collins' arms.
If for rugby, I'd go for the legs. If I wanted to go to a bar, the arms.
Yeah, I'm going for the arms.
But JB, you're a prop.
Not as long as he'd have liked, I think.
That is true. It's forever fine. Yeah, so Jerome Tion, right, as you've done such a terrible job of guessing, does not qualify as a French developed player because he played basketball for so long and switched into rugby so late he didn't qualify to be a developed player.
Oh, really?
What difference does that make in real terms?
Because he didn't go through an academy.
Yeah, it must mean something like academy credits or something. It means something important to someone, Tim, and that's all you need to know. To someone, that is very important.
It's not going to come up in a Zoom quiz anytime soon, is it?
No. It might do.
Now, JB, you often talk about USA, if they want to take it seriously, instead of developing, converting NFL players or sprinters into rugby players, they should be targeting basketball players.
100%.
And having watched most of The Last Dance recently, I can't help but agree with you. Like the athleticism, the size, the shape, the skills of some of the boys.
Spatial awareness.
Perfect. Yeah.
I mean, rugby is a game of evasion and skill, after all.
Yeah. And certainly the fitness is far more comparable.
Yeah, it is. In fact, in some ways, even more so, because they're sprinting up and down the court. It's not dissimilar to rugby league sets.
Yeah.
That was nice to see. I mean, a prop like Carl.
There's another all-time great right there, Carl Haymans.
Yeah. So great, he decided never to play for New Zealand ever again. He's got paid so much money by other people.
Yeah.
And Newcastle, to be fair.
Newcastle, yeah.
They threw a lot of money at him.
Yeah.
This was when the tight head prop, what was it Richard Cockerell said, because he was boss at Leicester at the time, my most important player is my tight head prop, my second most important player is my backup tight head prop.
Tight head prop, yeah. Now look at the size of him, look at the height of Carl Haymans. Because he's not the usual dumpy tight head prop, he's enormous.
Yeah. And the French scrum against Argentina in the first game was very, very good.
Yeah.
Sylvia French put in.
There we go.
We're putting in the same ball again because I'm not sure if you ran around or not, and I don't want to guess, so we're going to take the same ball.
Well done, Wayne. See it, let's see it again, 'cause we all want to see it. We all want to see it.
Just consider, in rugby terms, he's a 27-year-old referee. That is like an 18-year-old player coming in a game of this magnitude, and he's bossing it. You can see now he was destined for where he got to.
It's like watching Marcus Smith tell Jamie Roberts where to run. You know, it's a natural level of maturity.
Marty provides the kick instead, and it really didn't test New Zealand in any
A lot of kicking.
way.
Yes.
And a lot of extremely high kicking is what I've noticed. Box East and Damian Try between them can kick the ball so high.
Very high.
Well, this is the tournament that was known for the highest kicker of all high kickers kicking high in Juan Martin Hernandez. He's the first game in the tournament.
Wasn't he someone's all-time greatest fly half? Name escapes me.
He was.
There is a lot of kicking. I don't think it's necessarily bad.
No, not at all. It's not a criticism. It's the full-blooded defence. A lot of the kicking is good. It's not aimless.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, it's okay. I mean, it works well when
It's
the
just
other team
ridiculously
reacts.
high again.
Oh,
That's nice.
There by New Zealand. The communications breakdown, I think, between McDonald and Keller.
the breakdowns are noticeably more ferocious than what they are now. I mean, they are tough now, but the amount of bodies they commit to them. I mean, I guess it's a length of time, because you have a breakdown that's over now in 3 or 4 seconds, but it seems to be they just pile more and more men into these. Here we go.
From running it inside their own half, what can they do from here?
Hemmings is a big man, isn't he?
I can imagine, Phil, that Byron Kelleher, just looking at him there, he must have been one of your man crushes, because you long admire those kind of real thick-set scrum halves.
Sculpted physique, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think he's got the same sort of...
Quite clear from Wayne Barnes. The man penalised Jerry Collins.
So I was looking at this team sheet before, and it strikes me that the back row they have, i.e. New Zealand, is one of the all-time great back rows. But there's a problem, which is one of them has much more longevity than everyone else. So because McCall played on for so long, you kind of forget that he had such a good partnership with Soriano and Collins. So it doesn't quite stack up, not in the same way as, say, back Delalio Hill.
Yeah.
Because they all started together and they finished together.
Yeah. Whereas McCall finishes with Kieran Reid and Jerome Kano as the pair that he's known to be working alongside.
And you get remembered as a trio when you win a World Cup together. That's just the rules.
That's a good point, yeah.
Yeah, and that other trio won two of them. Despite Dusautoir's best efforts.
So I want to hear more about you at the game, JB, because you've been really cagey. I'm starting to wonder whether you were actually there or not. Were you maybe doing the dirty and this was your alibi? What's going on here?
Oh.
Yeah, I was actually robbing an underground vault at the time. No, I actually went to this game. I think I stayed at Bath actually, which was pretty cool, because obviously staying in Cardiff is next to impossible. And you go over the bridge, and again, for some reason, I think that there was some event going on, which means that there's a queue to get over the toll road, and there's a load of French fans coming over the toll road as well. So instead of just waiting in an orderly Anglo-Saxon manner, these French lunatics, they all started just hammering the horn. So all you've got is, it's like a sort of party atmosphere, waiting on the toll to get over the bridge with flags going everywhere, horns. It was really quite cool, but you know, not if you're the reserved British type, in which case it's quite embarrassing and awkward.
No more messing around with the referee.
So you class yourself
Something
more
we'll
as
never
the
see again now. The
British
toll's not a thing anymore, is it?
Got no idea. Is it not?
No, the toll's not a thing anymore. I think it's been paid for. You no longer have to pay to get into Wales, which is a shame, because the one time I got into Wales, this was maybe, I think, around the time of this, maybe a couple of years beforehand, and I was going over to a gig in Cardiff, and I hadn't taken. I got on the bridge and realised I haven't got any money on me, and they didn't take card payments.
Yeah. Did you have to do the turnaround?
No, they just turn you back. No, because I knew about. They just turn you back if you couldn't pay, or at least maybe they did that to English people, maybe not Welsh.
Yeah, no. Yeah, no, they would turn you around, but they'd let you go through, and you've got to turn around the long way, and then you can't get to a cash point. It's happened to me. It's a nightmare.
Well, it didn't happen to me because I managed to pay with stamps.
Oh, really?
Yeah, 100%. I swear.
So you've changed that story, because when you told me that exact story 2 weeks ago, you said you got recognised as Tim from BT Sport, and they waved you across.
Well, that's why Laporte put it there.
Yeah, okay, fine.
McDonald, he didn't really
So there you go. There's something you've learned. Anything with the Queen's face on is legal tender, and you can pay with it.
Now then, this is what I mean. France are back there again, but
Brilliant.
getting out and then back. They just
Anton Oliver, he was in the game between these two sides in 1999.
just try and stay
One of the few, I
Yeah.
think maybe the only player actually.
Yeah.
The other one, or one of the other
Dominici.
ones would be Dominici. Yeah, but I have to say Dominici was. So he was 35 in this World Cup, and watching the first game against Argentina, he looked like a 35-year-old playing on the wing against guys 10 years younger than him.
Well, yeah, and think about him overlapping with Pochettino. He's still about
Yeah. Yeah, and Vincent Clerc on the wing at that time, who's only retired in the last couple of years.
Yeah. Did he end up in Stade? He was definitely at Toulouse for a long old time.
Who?
Vincent Clerc.
He ended up at, he did a year or so at Toulon, I seem to think.
Toulon it was. Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, at the age of about 35, he did a 1 or 2 year deal.
So I
Here
don't
we go.
understand keeping it away there.
Niche French club rugby should be your mastermind specialist subject, JB. You love it.
I used to love it. I don't have enough time now.
And New Zealand win the kicking game.
Well, I don't honestly know that.
By the way, I just want to say to
running in their own half, but it certainly
any
appears that
people
way.
watching in New Zealand, I think we should maybe be respectful. I've come up with a way you can pronounce players' names.
Oh, please, yes.
Basically, you change an A to an I sound, an I sound, and you change
Eh?
Oh, sorry, no, you change an A to an I sound, and you change an I to a U sound, and then you can speak Kiwi, like
Oh,
Rachi
brilliant. Enlighten me.
McCaw.
Nice.
Rachi
Nice.
McCaw, Inton Oliver, and Luke McAllister.
You actually
Chris
sound
Judd.
like you could be. It actually sounds like you could be part of the Crusaders in-house commentary team there, Tim.
This is my audition. That's what you didn't realise.
No, and suddenly New Zealand have a penalty.
Jerry Collins with a limp
France have really been leading it for the last 5 or 10 minutes.
Dusatoir.
because
Bang!
Dusatoir,
Cheers.
boom.
Have that.
Done there.
I mean, Dusatoir's head was in the wrong position there, particularly when you're tackling Jerry Collins.
It'll be typical.
Yeah.
To kick it, and it's 13-0, and New Zealand, you can't honestly say.
So,
they've done a
at
lot
the
since they
time-
went 10-0 up.
This New Zealand team was the best in the world, right? I mean, they were ranked number one. But
yeah,
looking at this game and looking at how they've lined up, it does feel like there's small chinks in the armour. Like they weren't quite as settled as they could have been.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And part of that might have been just how easy their group stage was. So,
Yeah.
do you know who they played in their group stage?
I'm guessing it's going to be something like Japan or
Namibia,
Right.
Spain.
Neither of those. Spain's
Let's not
very
talk about
close.
Spain. Don't talk about
Spain
Spain.
Romania.
was very close. Romania's one of them. Portugal's the other. And then the other
What?
two. So the tier one team, the two other tier one teams were Italy and Scotland.
Well,
So,
somebody's gonna have to
In,
So there
in
is a
their
good
four-
argument, I think.
answer within the French camp.
I
Can
know
they
it's a
Go on,
risk.
Jake.
I know that sports
carry
people
on
don't like
with
taking
this
risks.
kicking game
But I think
they're
there's a
playing?
seriously good argument that if you are if you're the number one seed going into World Cup, because remember the seeds are done whenever they're done, like 2 years out or 3 years out. You should start your pre-World Cup training camp about 2 weeks later than everyone else, because you've got 3 weeks of playing the easiest group in the entire comp. Arguably, you're not tested, and it happened again this year or last year.
Yeah.
This year.
Yeah. Going in as number one is not necessarily the best thing. Because
No, absolutely not.
New Zealand's group stage, in the 4 games, they scored 46 tries. Their most difficult game against Scotland, they won 40 points to 0. And it was like I watched half of it. It was like a training run. McCaw's first try, no one lays a hand. It's off the back of a scrum move. No one lays a hand on it, and that's
it's not good enough, is it?
That's the most difficult test they'd had up to that point.
And it's also little things. So Mills Mulaina, an amazing player, but primarily a fullback. We have no idea coming into this World Cup if you could even defend. We simply didn't know because they never did it.
And they've got one of the all-time great 13s in their squad as well. Conrad Smith was in the squad.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's Conrad Smith.
Thank you, Tim.
Told you about this.
I did wonder who Phil was referring to there, to be fair.
A gift for New Zealand. What I mentioned before.
But are we only judging these players because we know Mills Mulaina went on and won a couple of World Cups at 15, and Conrad Smith went on to be one of the greats? Maybe we're judging them
by their achievements.
Mills Mulaina won one.
No, maybe we're judging them by their achievements, but before they achieved it.
Yeah. Well,
context is everything, is what I'm saying, JB.
So Mulaina was always a fullback. He played a few games at 13. But I found it quite shocking when he was picked at 13 for this tournament, because he then reverted back to 15 afterwards. And it's not like New Zealand are lacking in talent.
Good scrum from New Zealand. They got some pressure on there. Back comes McAllister. Soyalu's on his shoulder.
And they're going to walk this game the way it's going. They're applying all the pressure.
New Zealand.
Sorry to be stupid. Does anyone know, is a score in the top right-hand corner?
6-0, JB. 2 Dan Carter penalties.
Thank you.
What about the try?
Did the try not count?
Oh, and the try, of course. Exactly.
The McAllister try.
Not
add that on as well.
Now, are you, Tim?
Oh no, so it's 10-0. 7 a converted try and a penalty.
Oof. Nice little knee to the head there.
Richie McCaw involved again.
Of course.
On the wrong side.
Across on the other side, the touch judge here, Jonathan Kaplan, has also stepped in.
It was after this game World Rugby decided to change the cut of referee jerseys.
After the scandal that was. We've got this ref jersey for you. It'll fit either Jason Leonard or you, Wayne.
Okay, we'll come here. I'll just talk to the captain. 7. Okay, we've just got a late hit by number 8 of down and number 9. No need.
You know, World Rugby and rugby in general have often said that they want referees to be treated with more respect. I mean, that top has got must have something to do with it.
That was the Mulaina one. There was a late hit.
The tops, the colour scheme.
Yeah,
they need him on a weight training program as well.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a serious profession by serious people. Elite jerseys that that they deserve.
100% there, I do. Not fair at all. Better kick.
So if you were one of the coaches, what would you be thinking at this point, like your half-time chat? I mean, obviously the French coaches will just go. Or the French coaches will be shut out and told, leave us alone. Yeah. We're doing this ourselves, thanks.
Yeah, I mean, as a French coach, you've got nothing to do. The New Zealanders are busy scheming things, writing things on paper. I don't know. I mean, this is the team which wasn't that good by New Zealand standards. Otherwise, you'd say they'd have their mops and their brooms out ready to clean the changing rooms at half-time.
But they get another chance.
Well, he's got a second bite of the cherry because the kick.
Not happy with that. Not happy with it one bit.
You know, like in cricket, when a player misses a shot, they miss the ball, and then they replay the shot over again without the ball. That's how I should have done it. That was Byron Keller right
So
there.
I like watching cricketers come out to bat. Do you know, like right at the start of the day when the batting pair come out and they're waving their bats around on the way out, both of them. They look like there's a scene in Star Wars where the Jedi are like warming up with their lightsabers. It's exactly the same movements.
Well, they've got a really good chance of getting points on the board. I'm sure they'll go for goal. Pretty simple kick. About
Robinson, any relation to
10
Scott?
metres to the left side of the post.
Not
and
sure.
only about,
Is it not,
Okay, so we've got another kick.
is it
We've
not
got another
Robinson?
kicker now.
You're right, John. They've got to get
is it not Robinson and
So we've got-
Robertson? Scotty Robertson.
Oh, yeah, right, yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, Phil.
You might be of relation
Right.
to Jason.
little Elisalda, who's got the ball and is going to take
Tell me this.
kick at goal. Not Leonardo
Why don't we have
Cis.
more halfbacks that can play both halfback positions?
Elisalde,
So Elisalde, another kicker, I
90
might add.
points for
So
France.
what's this? Our fourth French kicker?
has often
Would you
taken
include the
on
ones at hand?
kicking duties.
He would play 10 or 9, depending. Michalak finished his career
Yeah.
at Lyon
42 points
playing
for this
9.
Rugby World Cup.
Who's the other one I'm thinking of? Gaultier would play
He has
9.
missed it on the right.
Sorry, 9 and then switch to 10, and Merceron would go in at 9 and switch to 10. So when those two were playing together, whoever was first to the breakdown would play 9. And yet, it seems
Yeah.
completely
Le
alien.
Petit
to think
General.
of-
It was always going to be a tough
Yeah,
assignment.
it seems completely alien to think of Owen Farrell nipping to a breakdown and putting his head in there.
Sarkozy, the French president, with the French president.
France
Is it
needed that kick
something-
big time. 13-0, coming up to half time, and they had a very kickable kick. They'd have been, I reckon, if you were a French fan, you'd be thinking, not our day.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, if I remember correctly, the summer tour to New Zealand was their record defeat.
Receiver.
So, yeah, it was a record defeat by... New Zealand beat them by the largest amount that France have ever been beaten by a New Zealand team. And they got beaten twice on the summer tour. So it didn't look good for them.
Oh, that was the one where Sebastian Chabot absolutely ended Chris Mazzoli.
Yes, it is.
Thanks, fella. Inside.
Carter
In case you're wondering, Tim, Jean-Baptiste Elisalde played at La Rochelle before he went to Toulouse.
hoists it.
Oh, I was wondering that. Thanks, JB.
Yeah,
Doesn't chase
it's
it
okay.
with any real conviction himself, and McDonald has an easy catch. Again, Heyman ran a little block for him. Got away with it though. That's off the head, and it was Aeronautica getting in there. Now going for it was Heyman's. He sets it.
How does Nick Mullins talk about this continuously?
Toulouse.
Say what you see,
He's
it's like
incredible, isn't
catchphrase.
he?
Gone on to the right. There was perhaps
Yeah,
an
but
overlap, they've
he
cut
makes it
back to
interesting,
Yeah, but continuously.
engaging,
Elisalde.
and
makes everything
he's
interesting.
constantly different as well.
And now they've got men with
Yeah.
the
Not that it's not
pass.
interesting. It's
Heyman
very
picks it
interesting.
up. Strong little runner goes again.
But somehow he makes it more interesting, and he does it consistently for 80 minutes.
Do you know what? Do you know what else? I think if you were commentating on a game at the Millennium Stadium, you can just be quiet and let the crowd do the work for you. Because just listen to it. It's unreal.
True.
France getting in there.
It's still in. That's still in. 14. Don't go in. 14 back feet loose.
Kelleher clears it.
Look at. Do you see Rokathoko calling for it?
Little chip
He had both hands up. There you go.
No, I didn't, but well spotted, Tim.
Well, that was.
Now, that's illegal.
Uncharacteristic from New Zealand, though, to be so risky near their own line, though.
Could have put themselves in trouble. The rewards would have been huge if it worked. But really,
I can't help but think that Rokathoko signalling for the ball there wasn't the best option. He had two men on him in his own 22, signal for the crossfield kick.
Maybe it was a decoy to get the two men over, and then Carter fell for the decoy.
You're supposed to decoy the opposition, not your own 10.
Yeah. But no, he's done his job. I mean, there's two men on him. He's done his job fairly well.
The French skipper.
I mean,
Could have
that
been
is-
7 points the other way.
Is rugby, of course.
Yeah, that is so close to Marty getting that ball and being under the posts.
Phil, don't worry about it. They're 13-0 up. They've got nothing to worry about. They can take a risk.
Yeah.
13-3 now,
Anyway.
Tim.
Does he change it tactically? Does he
Elisalde.
Don't worry about it, Phil. They're 13-3 up now. They've got nothing to worry about.
They're going to cruise to victory in this game,
They're,
aren't they, New Zealand?
they're basically celebrating, aren't they? They're playing celebratory rugby. They're probably thinking about
Of
England.
course, he's got guys like.
It's a 40-minute procession after this half to the semi-final.
And he might decide to make wholesale changes and go for it there. Or we could, of course, see a repeat of 99. And
So in the World Cup, in this half of the draw, you've got
Yeah.
England, who played Australia, as we discussed earlier, New Zealand playing France, compared to the other half of the draw, which was Argentina, Scotland, Fiji, and then South Africa. So it looks like one half is
Fiji.
One half is slightly stacked compared to the other.
Hang on, there's some wrestling occurring. Old-fashioned headlocking.
That didn't work.
I wouldn't want to. If there's two people I wouldn't want to wrestle, it would be a French prop or Jerry Collins.
Can I just point out the box cease is kicking now? So Elisand had one before. Now it's box cease. Loving this.
It's a roulette,
isn't it? And we've still got
the distance
Michalak to come on.
Needed
what a
that
kick.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about that, boys. It's an aberration. Doesn't mean anything. We'll just get some more tries.
It's two very.
That was the last moment of the half.
Half-time. Yeah, very important that.
That was intense.
Yeah. Do you think World Rugby are going to want us to talk more about the rugby on the screen for the next half?
No, I think it's niche French rugby all the way.
I like the music. Oh, of course, because it's a French World Cup. Silly me.
Even the French people in the crowd look like sartorially elegant, don't they?
Yeah. I did enjoy watching those New Zealanders celebrating their inevitable victory.
And here they come.
The real difference. First capped against the Lions in...
They're coming back out onto the turf then. Second half of this quarter-final, Rugby World Cup 2007 in Cardiff. New Zealand 13-3 up against France, thanks to 2 penalties from Din Kada and a conversion as well after hit that man. Scored a try. Devilishly handsome chap. He looks like he's trying to grow a mullet as well. And failing.
Yeah, he does. Do you remember his debut against the Lions? Dan Carter was out, so we'll just throw in this kid. And every Lions fan thought, that's it, we're going to win. And they spanked us
that kid?
God knows how many points. Yeah, that one there.
They're losing a 24-year-old. He's also played a lot of rugby at fly half. I remember, I think, against the Lions a couple of years ago.
So, when are we going to see Chabal?
The last one, Carter pulled out. And he played.
I was obsessed with Sebastian Chabal. I was obsessed with Sebastian Chabal in this World Cup.
I'm not surprised, mate. If either of you, and I know you do, I know everyone listening does, if you ever watch Sale Sharks TV, there was an interview with Steve Diamond. And Steve Diamond, of all people, even said he was the player that he would most like to be coaching now. I don't believe him, by the way, but that's what he said.
Did he also mention
I don't know when it was in the World Cup, but in this World Cup there was that brilliant moment where all the journalists were surrounding Chabal and someone said, "Would you answer in English?" And he just went, "No," and got up and walked out.
No. We are in France. In France, we speak French, which lost its gravitas, in my opinion, because he said it in English. The irony.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
I'll let you tell him, JB.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think Svarevsky
Have they got the ball?
is on.
There's something about this. There's something about this era, and I was just looking at Jerry Collins as he was walking around. Obviously, the late great. There's something about really intimidating blindside flankers that I love, and they're starting to go out of the game just a little bit, don't you think? Those real bruising enforcer type sixes. Jerome Kano was the one that succeeded him, and he's another.
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't know. I mean, if you look at someone like Courtney Laws, when they move him into the six shirt, that's pretty intimidating.
But the trade-off seems to be the more physical players, more explosive, harder hitting players, versus your line-out type options. Someone like a Scott Fardy type player. Or like Laws or Itoje if they're going to play there, although admittedly they can do both.
Who's on the wing here?
Which team?
Is that for France?
Himons. And his brother playing tight head prop for New Zealand as well.
And away 12! It's right on his head, we're just going to stop. It's stuck on his head.
And there's no way that's coming back. It's right on his head, says Wayne Barnes. No, hang on, Ibanez is there still. Yeah.
Jojon's been quiet so far.
No, Ibanez is definitely there.
The whole French backline.
All they've been doing is
quiet,
defending.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. Well, I mean, from memory, just looking at it, quick eyeball, I'd say New Zealand have had something like 32% possession.
New Zealand,
there's the
32.
boy.
Yeah.
They can't quite find their men, and it peters out as it goes in.
I think you might have that wrong there, JB. Oh no, is this
Well, let's
that Hamming?
move past it then, shall we?
Has come on,
Oh dear.
and he's come on instead of Olivier.
So who was the replacement scrum half for Byron Kelleher? Should he come? Was it Leonard?
It was
think it was
Leonard, yeah.
Following that superb break that he made
Not-
from that scrum.
Not in the pantheon of All Black greats. Not a bad player, but not who I was expecting.
He's not like Justin Marshall or an Aaron Smith.
Oh god,
He's
yeah.
walking like
Okay,
I walk
fine.
the morning after doing squats.
I just pulling up the team sheets and I noticed that the reserve second row for New Zealand is Bryn Evans, and I realise it's not Bryn Evans at all, is it? It must be Nick Evans,
New Zealand,
and he's not a second row either.
No, well done on both counts.
Yeah, shame that. I was getting quite excited. Whereas Bryn Evans only got 2 caps, so it'd be unlikely this is one of them.
Oh, what a hit.
Look at that!
What a hit!
Some strength.
In the end, by New Zealand.
That was amazing.
Still in charge. McDonald up there, but Kelleher's there now, so he defers.
I tell you what I do like. Loads of players are wearing them. Those blue Adidas Predator boots.
Why?
They're lovely.
They're okay.
Why? They're awesome. They're like
Inside, Carter.
Oh,
they're in the line of the all-time great Predators. I just loved all those early day Predators. Were just amazing.
I did like the Adidas World Cups. They were the ones I always favoured when I was playing.
World Cups were terrible for rugby. They were too. I always found the leather was too soft, so they'd always you go through a pair every 6 weeks or something.
Yeah, but
sadly you're both-
I used to have all the skills, Phil. I used to kick and stuff as well. So I needed to feel the leather on my foot.
Yes, you did.
Sadly, you're both wrong. The best boot for rugby was Kipster's own brand. So Kipster is the brand of Decathlon, the in-house brand, and the reason is the only people in the world that could sell them was Decathlon. So every 4 matches after they broke, you'd go back to Decathlon with your muddy boots and get a new pair. 17 pairs I had in total. Only ever paid for one.
Paid for £120 pair and had them for 5 years.
Yeah. 17 times.
Well, just to balance that up, I had a pair of Kipster boots and they lasted me for ages. So that I found them to be wonderful.
But you didn't play as hard as me. You didn't cover the same amount of ground.
Could anyone, JB?
That's a great question.
Thierry Dusautoir in this
Ali
game,
Williams.
maybe.
Gangly frame of Ali Williams.
I'm just going to keep my eye on Dusautoir for a couple of minutes, actually.
That's not bad. That's not a bad shot. There we go,
Players
boys.
still wearing the shoulder pad. Oh, there we go. Amons.
Pace. Now that...
This has got to be a
That'll be a
turnover.
penalty.
This has to be a turnover.
Yeah, come on, that's a pen. They're all
That's
over
pen,
that.
maybe,
New Zealand
yeah.
were.
Well, not only that, seatbelt tackle too. Simpler times.
That was such brilliantly cynical defending.
Here he
that.
is.
Oh,
Damien's trying to
terrible
move like a
pass.
bus.
The chance has gone.
Oh.
Line out France, another great opportunity squandered.
So
Big
Damien
excitement
tried.
from the French.
Yeah, like he's big, he can catch a high ball, he can kick. But when he tries to come into that line, he is so pedestrian.
The French coaches weren't happy about that decision over there. They were pretty vexed about that. I can understand why. Do you know what Bernard Laporte's nickname in this World Cup?
Do I know? I think I do actually.
He was known as Mad Bernie.
Go. Because
I don't know why, but that's just what that's what the French squad knew him as, apparently. Mad Bernie.
Mad Bernie, I like that. I'll take it.
And they're making inroads.
Here we go.
Going crossfield as well. They won't mind that because it opens up another chance to attack. Up to 5
That's
metres
decent,
from
isn't
the
it?
New Zealand line.
There we go, boys. Nice control.
Penalty
Wonderful control, in fact. Get off me.
Hold it in your one line green glove.
They get it wide.
Yeah.
Little chip through.
Why? There's got to be a penalty, right? Even though
Did he buy that?
Terrible option.
Did he buy that?
I think he might have even
Send someone off.
I mean, I trust Wayne to make the right decision, but
Always.
to make all the right decisions.
Every single time.
Yes, I think you're absolutely right.
he never misses anything.
France had the penalty
Nothing
to
at all.
take anyway.
Never.
Little
And if he misses it, it
chip
didn't
towards
happen.
the right.
Why? I mean, I know why he did it, right? I know he knows he's got a penalty coming. But he could have picked something better than that to do.
No, just watch. McAllister does kind of.
Yeah, there's a block there, but then this is
Oh,
your 9 and your 15.
Yep, a yellow card.
bye.
Ooh.
2 pieces of very cynical defense.
See you later, Luke.
And cynical the word
So what
used
did he
by
do
the
wrong?
Did he ever get the mullet finished? Do we know?
No, it's like the Gaudi Cathedral. It was like little bits at a time by very highly skilled craftsmen.
They'll take these points, and then it's essential that they really go for the jugular.
Right, this is huge moment in the game then.
Absolutely, we've been asking France to ask
Take the
Jacques
3.
Brunel.
of New Zealand's defence.
Have I made that up? Is that Jacques Brunel?
I.e., there's some chinks in
I
the
only
defence
caught it
of
right at the
New
end. It
Zealand.
did look like Jacques
The
Brunel.
pressure is
It did
paying
look
off.
remarkably like Jacques
Tactically,
Brunel.
John, what do they do? One man down in the backs. They can't afford to kick possession
So
away
Jacques
now.
Brunel would have been
They've got to make the best
Toulouse
use
coach at this
possible
point, right?
of the next 10 minutes.
No, because Toulouse coach was.
Oh no, sorry, I'm getting confused with
Now they're going to use the extra man.
what's his name?
Oh, I know exactly who you mean. I can't remember his name. How irritating.
France just one converted
13-6, New Zealand a man down. This is game on.
Well, on such things,
No, it's not,
the
Tim.
World
New
Cup
Zealand have won
change.
this.
They really do. McAllister had
There's no
need
way
to do
France
that.
coming
He
back from
should
this.
have
They
backed his
don't have it in them.
defence to secure that ball. But he's got to watch for 10 minutes and see if his teammates.
New Zealand have lost the best player on the park
They'll
up to
slow
this
down
point,
New
though.
Zealand, that's for sure. There will certainly not be any rush
I
to do
can't
anything.
concentrate now, Phil. I can't remember the name of the old Toulouse coach.
Good referee from Wayne Barnes. He's
Oh,
given them
goodness me.
Tell us about being in Cardiff for this game, because if I could pick a Rugby World Cup match to have been at, this would be easily in the top 10, probably top 5, maybe even top 3, behind
good.
England in the World Cup final against Australia, and this is probably number 2 behind that actually.
Yeah.
Not so interesting because mine
Here we
number one would
go.
be my number 1 2 would be England Australia in Twickenham in the last one World Cup. That would be my favourite.
No, I was there. I can tell you it was awful, JB. You'd have
I'm
hated
pretty
every
sure I
second
would
of
have
it.
enjoyed it. No, I know
No,
I would have enjoyed it.
You would have hated it, mate.
It was somewhat historic, one might say.
It was historic, and it was sadly. I have some crystal clear memories of that day, and it was pretty painful.
A very sober memory of that day.
Yeah.
Probably every nation that's been at a Rugby World Cup has one game at least that kind of stains the memory of every single fan and every player. And for England, it was against Wales in the 2015 World Cup. For Scotland, it was against Australia in the 2015 World Cup.
Yeah.
Well, New Zealand, I wonder. Looking back, you can see what they are. But anyway, let's let the game play out.
Yeah. So I can't understand anyone who wants to get rid of this from the game.
What do you mean?
The pick and goes. Apparently they're boring. I mean, this arm wrestle stuff is the bedrock of everything that they do. So you can do everything else. You've got to be good at this stuff, and it's glorious. And again, boys, and again.
And this is how you can tell the game had changed. Because compare the last moment of the first half when Dan Carter was trying a cross-field kick under his own sticks, versus now they're going, no, let's keep it tight and grind every metre.
Like maybe they're overthinking it somewhat because they're grinding every half metre because they're not going forward quickly.
I
can't believe you can't remember this game, JB. I'm almost angry with you because Phil and I went to Ireland v Wales, a Six Nations game at in Cardiff a few years ago when Wales had the massive goal line stand, exactly like this now that France are doing. And the atmosphere was unbelievable. The greatest atmosphere I've ever witnessed at a sporting event. And I can only imagine what this must have been like right now.
Yeah. It was that specific game was incredible. The tenacity of the Welsh defence.
Yeah.
I did go for a Michelin star meal that night in the Bath Priory.
What are they doing? All those phases, and then they do that.
Wonderful.
So you had a Michelin star meal pre-match?
No, post-match. We drove back to
Post-match? What?
Post-match? You can't remember the game, but you were with it enough to have a Michelin star meal, and you remember that.
Honestly, I couldn't tell you what I had. It was very nice. I wonder if it's still open. Priory and Bath.
Chris Juck coming on.
Robinson, the man they brought in to add a bit of grit and grunt to the New Zealand.
So you probably class them in the current world when everyone's talking about tight head locks and loose head locks. You probably class New Zealand as now having 2 loose head locks.
Funny you mentioned that, Tim. I was thinking exactly the same thing. Exactly the same thing.
They've got to clear their lines.
See, look at the body language of everyone from New Zealand. They know this is it. They've just blown it.
Big moment. Big moment.
For that defensive effort, and fair play to them. They did keep their discipline.
I used to love, and I mean love, Peter de Villiers. What a player.
Free kick, early engagement from the New Zealanders.
Are we going to do it again? Do it again. Do it again.
That negates the need for a...
No, take the guaranteed meters.
Yeah, lovely way to relieve pressure.
I love watching French players telling other French players to keep calm, as if that's going to work.
That was certainly intense. Well, that's unbelievable.
Do you know, I'm just thinking, I don't think I've ever been to a Rugby World Cup match.
Very definitely.
Have you not?
No, I've not.
My first Rugby World Cup match was Samoa versus Japan in Wrexham. I remember that.
Oh, here we go.
Look at him.
Samoa versus Japan in Wrexham. When was that then?
Samoa, Japan. Or maybe it's Tonga, Japan. It was the 99 World Cup, I'd say.
Yeah.
How?
Which was
99?
officially... 99 was officially based in Wales, wasn't it? Because that was the Millennium Stadium was built for that.
Yeah, the racecourse in Wrexham was hosted that game, and I never watched live rugby ever. First live rugby game I'd ever been to, and I couldn't keep track of where the ball was. I was looking at rucks; it already moved. It was very, very difficult.
Oh, I'm so glad Ibanez was going off then, because I was like, hold on, Zarzewski coming on for Palouse.
Look at those shoulders, by the way.
This man. Wow.
There were 2 haircuts.
Yeah.
Remarkable.
I wonder if
They're
this
really,
is
By the way, we've now got in Zarzewski we've got the Prince from Shrek, and with JB we've got Shrek as a human. 2 dead ringers. I'm not gonna speculate on which person on the pitch would be Donkey.
Yeah, I'll take that. Let's see Shabal do something. Give him the ball. Give him the ball. Size of his arms.
It's the length of his arms that's the most incredible thing.
The wingspan.
Yeah. They often talk about it, don't they? The wingspan of in basketball again.
And fighters.
No one has better. No one has better YouTube highlights than Sebastian Chabal. I have spent hours and hours down the years watching Chabal highlights on YouTube.
There's amazing.
I never want to cross the Rubicon and become the sort of person that makes one of those videos of highlights put together with music, but I love watching them.
No, you don't want to be that guy, do you? You really don't want to be that guy. Although I'm glad that those guys exist.
Yeah, quite right.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. It's on. It's on.
There's an amazing Chabal try. Oh. I think it's from this World Cup against... I want to say Namibia. It might be the next World Cup against Namibia, where he runs through half the team.
Go on, boys.
Oh, yes.
There we go. Aaron Ordike.
He's in.
Why did you slow down?
He should have reached out for it with his one-line glove and scored it.
Click gets past one.
Classic
Now they
winner.
want quick ball. Essential that they get quick ball.
It's mad looking at the body language of the Kiwis as well.
Yeah. I'll tell you what's interesting there is how the 10 was shaped. He shaped his body to go sideways. There was no danger of him running or testing that line. Forward.
But the French, they're just not
you've gotta
even
go forward.
organised.
Good ball this time.
Look, I mean, look at Anton Oliver for a start. He is absolutely bushwhacked.
Here we go.
Go on. Good lad.
Yes.
Do you think Nick Mullins would go with, go on, good lad? Or do you think he'd say something better than that?
New Zealand's defence.
13-11. I think he's excited.
Yeah, I think so. Do you like the inside
Dummy inside
pass
to no
there?
one.
No, with a hint of a forward angle.
That was so
Here we go, watch
easy.
it again. He's going to dummy the forward pass on the inside. No one there, cheers.
They ask questions and eventually numbers.
That
Do you think he
Well
was
done.
shouting Gregan? Gregan.
Great line. Gets the score. What a game.
I guess they don't need to worry, do they, about one try? They're going to win it so
And
convincingly.
Thierry Dusatoir, he's been a real revelation.
Yeah, this will spark New Zealand into life, and they'll just close it out now.
You'd have thought so, wouldn't you?
Only his 8th cap today. 25-year-old, originally from the Ivory Coast, has gone in.
It's interesting though when you look at games like this and key moments. What you said earlier, JB, about France having 4 captains in their pack. New Zealand, when
does
you look at
matter.
that pack, as great as some of those players were, in terms of guy, no, they've got incredible players in their pack as well.
There you go. In off the upright.
Yeah, in terms of New
French
Zealand,
gentlemen.
incredible players, but how many leaders, how many captain the team?
Have you ever been drinking? You ever had a few beers with the French fans, Tim?
I've never been to a game involving France.
So, I've been to a few games involving France, but me and Phil had a few beers in Fukuoka on an outdoor, street food store with a couple of French fans who all had perfect English. So it put us to shame because we're all so monolingual, if that's even a word. And yeah, it was.
So you can't even speak English.
Yeah, exactly. It was a great night eating animal entrails, literally, and offal, and drinking wine and beer while speaking about racing and how they're going to do next year.
It was brilliant fun, wasn't it?
It
Really
was.
good. Very
They
accommodating
described-
French
So
fans.
what we just saw there, by the way, guys, is the 9 and 10 for New Zealand going off. Byron Kelleher and Dan Carter both going off, both limping, which I think tells you everything about the French back row and how they've played so far defensively.
And they got off lightly because Betson could still be on the field.
Yeah.
I
that's
reckon
a
they
good
saw
point.
Shabal come on and just started putting on the limp.
So you would have thought with Nick Evans on the field they'd be more direct now, just because of his pace and his running game.
It's not like Carter was slow.
No.
That's fair, but Evans was rapid.
Steve Hansen looks young, doesn't he?
He does.
Steve Hansen's been that age for 40 years though. He's looked exactly the same.
Absolutely, and he's relying on not his normal lot to do it. With Carter off, Kelleher off, that axis is gone now. And who would have thought it would be Leonard and Nick Evans to see New Zealand home into the
But yeah, for guys like Nick Evans and Brendan Leonard coming on in a World Cup, we go, I'm ready for this quarter-final last 20 or so because I've hammered Romania. You're right.
Let's
yeah,
just have a look at
Phil.
this. Let's just have a look at this scrum here, right? So one of the successful law changes, I think, is the move away from the crouch. Sorry, can't even say it now. The active engage. So you how embarrassing! I can't even remember the 3 calls.
Crouch. Bind.
I had the same look on my face as you were saying that
Yeah.
as Dan Carter just did then.
Dan Carter did not look happy then, did he?
No.
We don't like
Understandably.
the fact that the team hasn't really had a very hard match. It hasn't been tested out. And all these cruising to victory.
It's like you don't need to, if you're a cameraman and Shabal's involved in a game, you don't need to cut to attractive people in the crowd. You just, every spare moment, just cut to Shabal.
We were there and they were coasting, weren't they?
And it's very, very different.
Yeah, hours would be spent on getting this hit right. And they just always bounce out, which is why the set is so much better.
Yeah, and the hit got more and more
France.
ridiculous until it was banned in whenever it was, 2014 or 15.
France getting there in numbers, but
But bearing in mind, we said earlier that New Zealand probably have what people class now as 2 tight headlocks. They just got pumped in that scrum. France got a massive edge in the scrum at the minute.
On for Anton Oliver.
There he
There he
goes.
goes.
Just Nick Evans showing what he can do. Jerry Collins. Richie McCaw, the captain. Just trying to get a platform for New Zealand to attack from.
Yeah, for all the greatness that New Zealand have, they don't seem to be a team full of ideas right now.
Well, right now they're playing one-out rugby. They've gone from wanting to use the hands and go wide to ultra low-risk rugby.
Yeah, and I'd question this as a tactic because the French are a notoriously big side. I don't think this team actually is that big. But they're very athletic. They're not going to be troubled particularly. I mean, these boys play top 14. Why would you decide to try and play top 14 against them?
With McCaw, his captain. They'll tick and go again, I think. There they are.
Yeah, that's not going to trouble
Again,
anyone.
taking that and also adding what we said a moment ago, that Byron Kelleher and Dan Carter just limped off. I think it just speaks to how physical France are.
Collins.
Yeah, I think you're on something there, mate.
To Woodcock.
And also, don't you think there's a massive psychological effect of, like we just saw the scrum there? I just think little 1% here and there, when your scrum's getting hit, you start not wanting to risk a knock-on because you're worried about what that might mean, and you start tightening up a bit.
Yeah, that's a good point. If you're conceding penalties and struggling at scrum time, you can't make mistakes.
Back in with one of those powerful runs.
I mean, that was a pen.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly the same thing. You got to watch a rugby game
Here we go.
by the lens of
Turnover.
how it was at the time.
Great turnover.
Yeah, Seabass.
Yes.
Well, Shabal's made his presence felt there. I thought France.
And for anyone that says that maybe respect for the referee has gone downhill a little bit, I would just refer you to the French scrum half appealing to the ref just then. It's been happening a while.
And well played, Shabal. It's a long period of play for New Zealand. Can they get the scrum right? The last scrum was a poor one. It went round, remember. They lost the put-in. They've got to get this right.
So has Palou's gone off? You
Yes.
should have really paid attention to that.
Yeah. Because this
You didn't
was...
pay attention to the game when you were there in the stadium. Why pay
Yeah.
attention when you're watching it 13 years later?
Good point. Very, very good point.
From the French boys as
I'm getting excited for the introduction of
made as
Mitchell.
if to take a quick one, but surely this is the time to.
I wonder if he'll have a...
Was there a big fan zone outside the stadium or anything, JB?
Yeah, there was. I remember that bit.
New Zealand
There was an absolute idiot who was kicking the ball, kicking a rugby ball high.
Yes, absolutely.
Everyone was loving it, but it was just getting a little bit too carried away. And in the end, the police came and locked him up.
What?
They're getting organised.
For kicking a rugby
Yeah,
ball?
so no, because he was kicking it, but like as people were catching it, he was trying to tackle them. And he nails one guy into a bin, and then the police just lock him up.
responsibility now. He must find a man. And he doesn't.
Let the boys play.
Williams comes up with it just in front of Thion.
Well, Wayne Barnes is, to be fair.
Evans
There we go.
He hasn't really used his whistle much this second half.
and McCaw as ever there in support.
See, that was just again from New Zealand.
Sets it up.
It- Just a
It-
P1 for McCarthy
Yeah.
to take it in.
They seem to.
That was quite nice.
Collins, good tackle on him, but
There we go,
Yeah, but all
boys.
that
This is
stru-
better.
Oh.
the All Blacks looking dangerous. Leonard, they've got men over out here on the left. Soyalu. Nice step inside from the number 8. He's not.
Yeah, back to what you're saying, Phil. All their structure seems to have vanished. No one seems to be really leading this.
For a moment,
Yeah.
France sniffed the ball, but
Yeah, and I guess losing your two influential halfbacks is going to have an impact on that.
But I mean,
You
yes,
should still have the structures in place.
yeah, I mean, there's losing two most influential players, and that's obviously not a good thing. But it is New Zealand, and these boys have.
Yeah.
I mean, they have what on two fellow professionals.
It's not two
Here we
guys
go.
from the crowd.
Yeah, we've got a dentist and a physics teacher ready to come on.
Try
Try time.
time.
There we go. Oh well, my nerves are settled. At least they're going through now.
Rodney.
They can relax.
I can't think of
Who's his
another
brother?
Rodney. I can't think of another Rodney in international rugby. There must be other Rodneys. Oh, I mean, obviously that was Will Greenwood's nickname. No, that's not right, is it? He was Shaggy. But he looks a bit like Rodney out of Ronnie Fools and Horses as well.
Or many tough
presumably
Rodneys.
It was Rodney Kafer,
Oh, Rod Kafer, yeah. Good call, Phil.
presumably.
Could be Roderick or
Could be
Roderick.
Roderick Kafer.
Anyway,
Yeah, not too many.
is this
You don't
TMO
need too
checking
many.
it?
You can see this is a clear-cut try. There's the ball on
That's
the
a try.
line.
T-R-Y.
Problem with
T-R-Y.
that, I believe.
As Eddie and Steve would say.
He's almost matching his skin tone. 60 odd minutes in, 60 minutes in, is almost matching his jersey. Wayne Barnes.
What a professional Wayne Barnes is. I mean, if I had to wear that, I'd be so not sure I could put on the actual game.
Well, if you
look
just
like
noticed
that.
him then, did you just notice Wayne Barnes then? He just pushed Shabal out the way to get close to the ball. He's a brave man.
Well done, Barnesy.
I can award that now, is that correct?
Do you remember the conspiracy theory about those water bottles, Tim? Do you remember?
No.
So those
No.
water bottles were introduced, I think, around the time of when England won the World Cup. And the reason is because it's unhygienic, isn't it, to all be sipping from the same water bottle, particularly in these COVID days. But back in the day, they saw us too. So they made the squirty ones, and there's quite a lot of videos of Martin Johnson talking to someone off camera whilst having a drink. They go, "Oh my God, England got microphones in their water bottles." That was
I
a
love a
thing in
good
the Australian
conspiracy
press.
theory.
Guys, just stop. This kick's really important. This kick is really important. They need this.
Oh, it's fine.
no.
they've got another one.
Alistair.
They're only
This is
5
it.
ahead.
Missed
Missed it.
So it's 18-13 now.
Correct.
So he's on
And Jerry Collins has been replaced. Chris Mazzoe is on.
Not a bad
Chris Mazzoe
replacement.
apparently, did not have as big arms as Jerry Collins apparently, but they look big. I wonder if it's his general body shape that enhances them.
He looks a bit squatter, doesn't he, Masoe?
Yeah.
So maybe it's that.
Need to get themselves back. 18-13 behind.
Back to the kicking.
Come down with snow on it.
Sort of shuffling run.
Good take.
Shot here, don't touch it. Just
Williams it was who gathered it
They
in.
flood to the breakdown. I mean, there's about two too many lads there.
Evans.
Yeah. It's not the most efficient rooking, is it?
It's really not.
Oh, Cedric.
Oh, nightmare.
Almost all went out the window there as Cedric Haymans made a
Did you say Frederick? It's Cedric.
I did say Cedric.
Oh dear, Cedric.
the French challenge.
Well, they're still going to be under huge pressure. New Zealand scrum to camp.
They got Michalak on the bench, haven't they?
Yeah.
He was giving it blue steel during the anthem. He's the kind of guy that would have been gutted he's not starting.
No pressure around him at all. Speculation catch.
Yeah,
Well,
he
everyone
came
should
off
be
the bench
gutted they're
in
not
the-
starting, but you know what I mean? He really backed himself.
And Rokotoko was
Yeah.
so close to getting the first boot to that.
He's a mercurially
France
talented
are-
player
France are
who can
pumping
do
him.
a bit of everything.
Yeah.
Just quickly, I think Wayne Barnes has done a great job tonight, actually. First massive game for him.
That's
That's
some greatness
some
there,
jaw,
isn't
isn't
it,
it?
boys?
Not refereed many test matches.
Look at the jaw on
Absolute
Toulouse.
greats.
Some sort is a big risk, but I think he's done a really good
Chiseled.
job.
touch. Balls engaged.
Leonard with the feed. 15 minutes to go. What a test.
So I think if anything over the... You know how
Evans
You know, sometimes
There he goes.
There we go.
Nick Evans, there he goes.
And the knock-on
That
as
was
he tried
pace.
to offload, but little Elisal did so well to get him.
He was holding on, wasn't he? Little show and go from Evans, as Ellis say, just look at that, he's just fingertip stuff, and then manages to get the dive in to get one leg. Evans tries to get it to Muliaina, I think it was, on his left-hand side, but it's a knock-on, French ball.
Message given.
Evans does offer them so much in attack. He's a very, very talented fly half in his own right.
Crouch. Touch. Pause. Engage. Middle.
Well, again,
No
the All
hands
Blacks
up.
managed
Still
to
in.
ruin the possession. And there's the counter-up from New Zealand.
I love that. Did you notice a little detail there of holding the attacking player's shorts? So as they drive over, you're dragging your mate backwards as he holds the ball.
Marty
Textbook.
acting as the fly
That was some
half,
good
and,
counter-rucking.
Doxys gets the kick in now.
Here we go, boys.
Dangerous. They run it back.
Right, nice
Oh.
attacking move.
Yeah, just
That'll
give it,
fo-
Joe.
yeah.
Oh,
Oh God! By the way, that little loop around when no one's there. I mean, that's going to fox them. That'll do the trick.
Great chasing by the
I do miss Richie from the international field, you know. What a man.
Oh, look!
Come on. The French scrum has struggled since Ibanez and Palouse went off. Is Chabal putting his everything into the scrum?
That's probably, you know, as well as
Jeez, off.
obviously this doing this game would be a highlight of our time doing our rugby podcast. But spending a bit of time with Richie McCaw at the World Rugby Awards was that was a bit of a highlight. And I remember, so just to feel, we had a few minutes with Richie McCaw, and JB decided to take up about 75% of that talking about helicopters.
You've got it right. Understand your audience. Know what the man likes. You know, if he thinks he's talking to a fellow aviation enthusiast, he might hang around for longer. He didn't. Go on!
perfectly flat.
Definitely
pass,
wasn't
that
forward,
looked
that.
like.
Definitely not a forward pass. Definitely flat.
Definitely flat.
My word.
Michalak has been on the field
What
for
an introduction.
20 seconds.
And those guys have got no idea what's going on, how that happened. Nothing to do with them. They're baffled. Everyone
Right, it's
right
just
now is
watch.
scratching their heads.
So is that
Is that
try?
Michalak's first touch of the rugby ball?
Yeah.
Such beautiful hands.
Watch Michalak's hands. Watch his hands.
He managed to have the foresight to turn inside
Chest
as
pass.
And
well.
then straight to Charlemagne.
Oh, was it the pass to Michalak that looked forward? Yes, this one.
Yeah.
Oh,
that
Oh,
one.
that's so forward.
I'm
Let the
gonna
boys
complain.
play.
I've got my- I need to get. I just need to complain. I've got my French nicknames wrong. I just called Joson Charlemagne. Charlemagne was actually Olivier Magnier. What an idiot!
Embarrassing.
Isn't it embarrassing?
Elisald. And they're in the lead. 10 to go.
You know,
New Zealand
Joson's
definitely going to come back.
Yeah.
New Zealand just turn it on now.
Oh, here we go. Let's watch this again.
So
Well, the scrum worked. The
Have
So
they-
forward.
worked. And the right
Nah,
decisions
it's the
were
angle,
made,
mate.
especially by Michalak. New Zealand will be aggrieved about the forward pass. That happened.
what
It even-
formation were they playing then? I wonder.
New Zealand in real
For the first
trouble
receiver to be
here, 10 to go.
Damian Try.
Yeah,
He
he's
has
well.
played a lot. Who, by the way, has played a lot of 10.
Presumably
I
he's
didn't
just come
notice
into
any
the
shots
lineup.
of. By the way, I didn't notice any shots of any New Zealanders, coaches, players being upset or anything. I'm trying to remember at the time whether during the game, people that I was watching the game with, or whether it was a thing, or it was only afterwards when people saw the replay that they were.
So I remember
crying
that at the time
forward pass.
being controversial. That forward pass.
So weirdly, I don't, because of course being at the stadium, you don't get to see the controversies.
Kicking game.
Yeah.
France knew
And also, you don't remember the rest of the 69 minutes before that either.
I actually do remember that bit. So,
And can France
doesn't matter.
do it again? Remember how they upset
Anyone know
Toey
who
Arba?
this guy is?
Yeah, two over.
Isaiah Toiava.
So
Lee Hoffman
Nick
again,
Evans
what?
has now gone off.
Evans going off.
So,
So Luke
that
McAllister
must mean
presumably is going to
Luke McAllister
play
into fly half, yeah.
Evans is also
Yeah.
in. They haven't
Decent. Oh,
So
that's a killer, isn't it? That's an
that's
absolute killer.
That's another law change.
Why is that
I've
not a
spotted.
penalty?
The back line weren't 10 meters, weren't 5 meters back from the scrum. They were all flat to the number 8.
Oh my God, what a nightmare for New Zealand. They got pumped in the scrum, they turn it over and they throw it forward.
What a nudge that is.
Bravo.
Listen to the crowd.
And those guys are completely befuddled. In fact, they're annoyed they've got to stay another week.
That is a remarkable kick.
Nothing at all that New Zealand can do about that. I think McAllister will step into 10 with Evans going off. As you say, with an injury, that leaves them very bad. But McAllister has played there before, but has he got it to get New Zealand out of this hole?
See, when you think about the New Zealand teams that won World Cups, the thing that was always noticeable was that any player could go off and they'd have someone of equal standard coming on and filling their spot. But that certainly was not the case in 2007. Maybe it's the lesson that they took away from it and learned.
Well, was that legal? Christophe Dominici, the little winger on. Referee says he's happy, but...
That's a good kick chase, a very good kick chase.
That wasn't to discredit any player that's on the field, by the way, obviously, but...
Obviously.
An observation, Tim, and I would agree a fair... It feels like a fair observation. Mind you, most teams, when you're down to your third choice fly half within an individual game, most teams will be struggling a little bit.
That's a fair point. So come on then, you must remember, JB, what it was like in these last 10 minutes.
I do remember the Ella Sound running backwards, I do remember. That was electric.
I was hoping for a little bit more than, I can remember one bit where a guy ran backwards.
Oh, no.
Can you remember how it felt, what the crowd was like, anything? What can you tell us? We weren't there.
You'll know the bit. Miserable. The amazing thing is they kept these guys. I mean, it'd be so easy to find them, but they kept the faith, which is a remarkable decision.
And not only did they keep the faith, they continued that after Henry had gone, and then they've even continued it after Hansen's gone. With Fozzie, who he might not have actually been part of the team then, but he was in subsequent years.
Evolution,
so
not revolution.
That's what it. Yeah, that's what it appears to be.
2-point game, closing stages, and they're starting to run it from in their own half.
Hope they don't turn it over to the French anytime soon.
See, this is it. When you look back at this, you think you're playing exactly what you said. You're playing against France. Don't go one-up rugby, and then when they have to score, oh no, they're still trying the same thing.
Richie McCaw.
They ran out of ideas early doors. Now, whether that is French pressure or what, you'd have to watch it slowly and analyse it. But they clearly ran out of ideas. And
or
talents,
ran out of bravery. Yeah, ran out of intent. They didn't have the ambition later on because of the risk of doing so when the French got in the game.
Again, look at this French defence, though. This is immense.
Leonard, McAllister.
But New Zealand, the way they're playing is making it easy for the French defence. Because New Zealand are only playing... They're playing everything within 5 metres of the breakdown every time. So as long as your first couple of guards are in place, there's no danger. Now there's an overlap, and they've gone the wrong way.
Yeah. Oh, that was painful.
Also, as we come towards the end of this game, I just want to say I deliberately didn't say anything sooner because I didn't want to stop you from doing it. But JB, you are aware of the pose that you've been in during this during this whole game, aren't you?
It's a good pose. Give the people what they want.
You look great, JB.
So I'm looking forward to the end of this lockdown so I can wear some jeans.
I haven't tried mine on. I'll be happy if they fit.
Good discipline from the French. It's another matter to get over. Woodcock with the drive.
Who needs Luke McAllister's quads to get your legs out on camera?
Exactly.
Well, you sense that if the All Blacks don't come away with something from here.
Oh man, this is tense. Even though no spoiler alerts. Even though I know what's happening, this is still tense.
No spoiler alerts now. It's a bit late.
Yeah, to be honest, Tim, if you've not watched this game 13 years on, I don't think we own a spoiler alert. That's on you.
We might have hinted a few times throughout this recording as well. Sharp.
Drive upon drive.
I mean, how do they not do it from here?
Is that a penalty? That looks hands
Was
to me.
that a possible pen?
I think that's a pen.
It could definitely possibly have been a pen.
Yeah.
Now they have to clear it.
What on earth? What on earth was that?
what?
How was that the clearing kick option from Michalak?
I thought you were outraged about the clearing catch option.
Well, the clearing catch was quite remarkable. Chris Jack on the wing.
Shinning it into the ground so he can collect with his hands. Genius.
Where you were watching, Phil, who was everyone supporting? Who were all the neutrals supporting?
I seem to remember. So I will always support in games where I am genuinely a neutral. I will always support the underdog. So I'm pretty certain I would have been supporting France. As I find myself watching this now, for some reason I'm supporting New Zealand, probably because I know they're the underdog in this particular scenario.
I don't feel remotely sorry for them being 2 games behind because I know what happens in the subsequent 8 years.
Yes. Yeah. Good point.
Dominici organising things.
Oh yeah,
Rack
he's
Inspector.
intimidating.
Quickly shirking his responsibility from the box kick. Very wise. You're paid more than me.
This is still good New Zealand attacking ball. And this
Is this the
would really
Aaron
be the time. This would really be the time for a strike move.
Oh.
New Zealand attacking ball, set piece, just outside the 22.
Now, just remember how much talent that French line-out has. I mean, this is not a good time to be wanting to win your line-out ball against all those mega athletes.
A lot of pressure. Will France go 2 up then, JB?
Why should she stop celebrating?
One thing you can say about rugby supporters is the chants that they have down the years have a level of consistency, don't they?
Yeah. A layer of distance, still the best.
They make a lot of noise, but they don't. We don't have a range of chants, do we? Allez, les bleus, allez, les bleus.
Sail. You don't need much, do you? The classic.
Sail, making the word sail into a 2-syllable word is a remarkable chant.
It's a classic, mate.
It is.
60,000
Always had a syllable. It's like always had a syllable. It's like football fans say England, don't they?
England.
Yeah, they do actually. So a terrible line.
Thocko's step is unreal. Onarachi.
No, I mean, how are they expecting to win committing that many mental breakdowns?
Trying for a pen. Although there's drop goal options here. They're not even considering a drop goal.
Every Frenchman is on his feet, basically.
If Nick Evans or Dan Carter's on the field, they would have been looking at a drop goal just then.
Yeah. Here we go.
They worked him.
From the halfway.
But not from there.
Well, I guess they considered being
30 yards back.
I guess they considered being exactly in between the posts to be more valuable.
Oh, I love this.
20 yards closer.
He backed himself at least, but that's crazy.
This is unreal. So
I know what Steve Hansen was saying. Steve Hansen was just saying we were just there. Why didn't we do it there?
Yeah, we were 30 yards closer.
Oh, I thought he said that there's a vacancy in Canterbury.
Nobody this morning would have given you a chance.
I just remember the pub I was in was it was loads of Aussies, in fact, because there were people in there for the Australia-England game before. There were loads of Aussies and there were loads of English fans. Everyone was mad on France.
Yeah, I bet they were.
So it was going pretty bananas at this point.
Sit down. Yeah, the difference between these two teams is every Frenchman is on his feet.
Yeah.
They've got to move it now. Well done by
You don't even need to be
Get
fitter.
that out. There we go. It's on. No, it's not. Terrible passing.
And look,
And if they had got it out, it would have been Chris Jack out there to get it, Phil. So it's not going anywhere.
Why that's not a penalty is beyond me. That's a penalty.
The All Blacks got it back. McAllister through the middle again.
McAllister trying his best to work a bit of magic, but it's still 1-out rugby.
Not given.
You can only dummy to nobody for so many times. Here he is. Bye.
Here we go.
See you later. Running. Way!
Wow.
Fair play.
I forgot how good that defence was. I mean, that's not. Let's be honest. That was not a great game. But that last 10 minutes, or that last
They
defensive 10
have
minutes.
not won the World Cup since 1987.
It's incredible.
Me. Oh, Rougerie.
The end of the first half, they look odds on.
Now you've got to enjoy a win like this, but there is a little part of me that's saying,
Sarkozy, love it.
knowing what happened the following weekend, you're going, yeah, I don't think you should celebrate quite as much as you are. It's only a quarter-final.
Yeah, but they thought they were out in the group stage.
Yeah, that's true.
Don't worry, boys. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I suppose every game from the second match was a knockout game, wasn't it,
Yeah.
for France?
Yeah. They got to win
And
everything.
they'd already been beaten by New Zealand, like by historic amounts in the summer. And they probably had a
That
full
was
rebellion
an
going on against
epic game. That was
that
epic.
defensive stand.
And New Zealand's worst
Hang
ever.
on, let's have a listen.
You know, it's a win. I think it's a good win. We make them play on the wrong way. I think we were really brave, and we, you know, when the team spirit is there for the French, you know, it's difficult to stop us.
13-3 down at the interval. Did you think the match was getting away from you?
Well, you know, with the such a score, you know, especially at half time, and the way the All Blacks play in the first half, we needed some big effort to come back into the game, and this is what we did.
And you seem, as a nation, to have this ability to turn the matches around against New Zealand.
Yeah, well, you know, the All Blacks, great team. They were the favourites on this tournament. We had some tough moments during the game, but I think the whole, you know, the way we play with some commitment and bravery. I think this is what made the difference today.
And a quick word: a Northern Hemisphere semi-final next weekend.
Yeah, it won't be the Three Nations like everyone was expecting. We were not really happy during the week before the game, hearing that it would be just a contest between teams from the Southern Hemisphere, and you see England and you see France in the semi-final. So I think it's great news for the Northern Hemisphere.
Well done tonight.
Thank you.
So softly spoken.
Is that Yannick Nyanga there?
And his lovely words
David
from the
Scrella?
skipper, and his ear looked like one of those shrimp penny sweets that you get.
Delicious.
So yeah, New Zealand's
Talisman.
worst ever World Cup finish.
Yeah,
only
they've never
time
not
they've
got
gone
to
out
a semi-final prior to that, have they?
Semi-final at least, yeah. And still now.
Too easy
they've
for
never-
him. Too easy for him. Did you see that? Just picked up a child.
Mwah.
Yeah. Oh, look at that.
That was an amazing match game of rugby. Thoroughly enjoyed that, gents.
I did as well.
Perfect, yeah.
What lovely.
And if you're on this feed and you're watching right now, well, thank you very much for joining us. Hope you enjoyed that as well. Hope you left your comments and stuff. We are Eggchasers. And as you can hear, we know as little about rugby, or as much about rugby, or only as much about rugby as you do. So
probably less.
Come and join us another time.